grandson at 5, so I
Aw.
have book club with you guys tonight.
All right, we are officially live. We
Okay.
did hair and makeup, obviously.
But yeah,
Hi, everyone.
sorry.
Woo!
I'm too old now. Yeah, I'm like, no.
I'm
I
not even. I'm just lazy. Like I drove up here about 20 minutes ago, from work. So this is what you get. I mean, I try to be fancy, but
You look
This
fine
is
to
the
me.
COVID edition of the book club.
I know you guys look great.
ah,
So this
yeah.
is the sparkling white wine or sparkling grape juice. I mean,
Oh, Spark, is it great?
because I was just telling Samantha because I might get to go. I might go get my shot in an hour.
Oh, okay.
The deal is that at the end of the day, like at 8:30, if they have extra doses, they are allowed to like give them to their family or friends or whoever, like so.
Nice.
Hopefully, they usually
Cheers
have.
to Becky.
Yes. Cheers. Thank you for
Yay!
being
I
responsible.
I have an appointment for Wednesday night. I had to get up at 6:00 when it opened up, and I had my computer on since 3 to the site. Anne had hers on since 3 to the site. She was refreshing it all night long because she stayed up all night because she's working nights. She stays up all night and then she slept all day. So she stayed here. So I get up before 6 and we start refreshing. And then it comes out to be like 6:02. It pops up and it says, well, we're live now, but we're already full of people on the site. So you'll have to just wait your turn. Anne says, what did it take? I've been here for 3 hours. I said, me too. But I guess a lot of other people must have done the same thing. So we wait, and every minute it refreshed. And then as we started looking through all the lists of the Florida counties, this one was fully booked, and then this one was fully booked, and then and I was about to give it up, and it was just after 7:30, and I've been sitting there cross-eyed for an hour and a half, and it pops up and says, "Oh, appointments are open." I'm like, so I jump up really fast. It's only for 2 days. It's only for next Tuesday and Wednesday. So when I popped on, the first one I could get was not till 6:00 Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. So I clicked on it, and then you have to answer all these questions. You have to put in a next of kin. You have to answer health questions, your name, address, your phone number, your Medicare number. The whole thing is in there. And then I click on it, and it goes, oops, sorry, someone else is taking your spot. And I had to start over.
No, see, I would have laptop.
I was like, no. So I start over, and this time I said, screw it. So I went to Wednesday, and I went to the last time on Wednesday and clicked on and filled it all out and got it. So, and then my friend said, I ran into the pharmacist last night, and if you go in at 8:30 tonight, if she has a dose, she can give it to you. I thought, well, maybe I'll just do that. And then.
Yeah. I've heard of that. So yay.
Yeah. So I'm old enough to age has its privileges. So this book not fantastic?
This book. Okay, so first of all, we're missing some people from book club. But that's okay. They can always join in or they can watch it. We miss them. So hopefully they'll join in next book club. This was a good one. Maybe if they join, if they send me a message or anything, we can do like a round 2 or like the missing people book club discussion, because that'd be cool, like A and B. But I'm drinking, before we went live, I mind the ketos, so I'm drinking the Vista Bays, which is the Ologies version of White Claws, and it's good. It's the coconut mango. So
is it flavored sparkling water?
Yes, with booze in it. So really good. And then everybody else share what they're drinking.
That's why I'm having just sparkling grape juice, because I might go get that COVID shot, and I figured probably I should be sober.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm actually doing sober too, Becky. So just pineapple juice, because I'm just trying to be better about it, because
be better at life.
Last year was fun, but it was like the COVID 30. So
Mike edge.
Mike says his Outlook didn't go off.
Oh, he missed that. Tell him he can join. I will add him on when he joins in.
Come.
He said, I'm
coming. Okay, so he'll be here shortly.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll hesitate
Okay, we'll hesitate.
We'll dance and sing for
Well,
everybody, and then until he gets
this glass, I use this glass every once in a while. My mom painted it a few years ago, so I know it's a nurse on the glass.
That's fun.
Yep. So I don't use it very often because that paint doesn't last forever. But I thought it would be special tonight. So.
It's a good one. And then also for anybody that is going to rewatch or watch or view or whatever, this stream, we were talking before we went live that the author, it was really cool. If you can follow her on Instagram, and then if you do book clubs, you can actually request her to join in. I was just a lazy POS and didn't follow through on it, but if she sees
I forgot.
I know. Well, we rescheduled this a million times just because of the holidays. So,
sorry, guys. I was one of those reschedules. I'm sorry.
I was two of those reschedules.
It doesn't matter. We always get there eventually.
Yeah. I mean, we make it at the end. So.
And we didn't reschedule yet this year, Becky. Okay.
Yeah. We're on a streak. We didn't reschedule.
One of one.
1 for 1.
2020.
Hey, that's pretty good for us.
That's really good for us.
But you'd think it's so funny. You'd think during the pandemic, everything's pretty much shut down, but we still couldn't get it together. And I thought, I've got stuff to do. I don't go out to work, but I'm busy.
I know. And I was just dang, we're really busy. We're more time on this.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
Oh, Mike said, "Is there a link?"
Tell them if you can. It's on the homepage of our fan page.
There should have been a notification on Facebook too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, last year it was from October up until now. I just started I took a break on unpacking the house. Because I was if I don't unpack things after 6 months, it's never going to happen. So I took a time out. Restarting that timeline because it was very busy last year.
Yeah, it was.
When did you get married? October?
Yes. And that was the beginning of the end. I don't even remember much of Thanksgiving or any of that. I just remember
insane.
Yeah, it was just now we have to get gifts, and we have this ultimate dump table in our living room where it's just covered with stuff that we just dump. So yeah.
I hear that.
I unpacked my closet as a goal for 2021. So we are officially unpacked in the clothes. But yeah. So
wow. So are you sisters now?
Yeah, we're officially sisters.
Wow. Yeah. And I changed my name officially. So I really am Samantha Katrina.
I keep forgetting about that, Samantha. Don't be offended. But I keep on forgetting that.
It's okay. I honestly did too.
Oh yeah, Becky, you're right.
I'm so sorry that you have to be my sister. But it's gonna be fun.
Vice versa. You see what you get? This is
gonna be great.
All right, let's see. Michael.
Come on, Mike. Did he come in yet?
I know. He'll be hey, guys, just skip over the first 9 minutes. I might actually put that in the description.
All right.
Just started at 10 minutes.
Exactly. So I'm on this watercolor site called Let's Make Art. And it's a company she's out of Missouri or something. And every month I get whoever's on the subscription service. You can order each kit by itself, but you get 4 projects and you get the paints for them and you get a special little deal. And then every Wednesday she opens up a tutorial so you can learn how to paint whatever this project is that she sent you. And it's pretty cool. I had a definite reason for telling you that. I wonder what.
It was there.
It's like a Bob Ross, but with watercolors.
That sounds really awesome. So you should send me that link so I can take a look at it.
It's super. It's.
Here's Mike. Sorry, he's waiting for me to approve him.
Becky, think about why you told us that, and then at the end,
we were talking about before it. We were talking about something right before that.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Sorry, my notification in Outlook didn't go off, and Facebook usually notifies me of stuff like this. I got nothing.
No, I just set my alarm.
It's all good. We
Oh,
just
I know what it was. I got it. So apparently she takes the tutorial for the watercolor stuff. This is another site I'm on, Mike, that teaches watercolors. So she takes this tutorial once a week. But then the husband goes through and works on it, and he puts up to the side, it puts what is where. So it'll say like tracing the pattern at 0056, and then it'll say taking the fun oath at 0040, and then it starts painting at whatever. So it actually has the breakdown of what stuff comes where in the tutorial.
I think I might do that for this
You
one.
have
Be
to
like,
set it up.
at 10 minutes, we start the book club.
You say it at 0100. Becky's talking about her stupid COVID shot.
2 minutes in, Becky gets COVID or doesn't get COVID.
Yeah.
Doesn't get a COVID vaccination.
And then at 6:50, Mike says his Outlook thing didn't go off. And
Exactly.
All
Step by
right,
step.
so you missed our we were introducing what we were drinking. So far everybody is being good for 2021, and Becky has a possible vaccination, so she's going to be good with some sparkling grape.
So I might get the vaccination tonight, so I'm not going to be drunk when I do.
So what are you drinking, Mike?
Scotch.
Good old Scotch.
Because why not?
Because
it's been a long week, and it's going to be really cold in Bloomington tomorrow, having to move Patrick's stuff.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
Is he going to IU?
Huh?
The worst weekend to do that, actually.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons Sophie's not going to be here tonight. It's a long story, but he's moving to Dallas on Sunday.
Oh,
okay.
From IU to Dallas?
Yeah.
Well, isn't her daughter down there too?
Yeah. So we're going to go pick up all his stuff and stick it somewhere, probably in Joe's basement.
Oh my gosh.
And then he's going to take some stuff and drive to Texas on Sunday.
Dang.
Wow.
Well, at least he's going somewhere warmer.
True.
The plus side.
Yeah.
I know, but
All right. Well, it has been a long-awaited book club.
yes.
But it kind of fits the story. I mean, it's the book, obviously, that is scrolling on the bottom of the page, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by, was it V.E. Schwab? I think I did that great.
Wow.
We did this book club for December, but then we just had to push it off a bunch of times because of life and holidays.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah, it's really, I mean, the author is actually pretty young. She's like my age. She's like 30 something.
Yeah.
And
she's written a lot.
Yeah, and she has other books too that a lot of people like we were saying, you can follow her on Instagram, and she's really cool. Hold on. He's playful out. So the thing is, let's discuss. Where would you guys like to start?
Just before we start, I saw a commercial the other day. I don't remember what it was for, but it was some sort of app for a book club, and this book was in the ad.
Oh, nice.
It may have been Audible or something like that, or some other service.
A book service.
Yeah. A lot of people had this book as book club, I think, in December, and then I was with Felicia Day. She had this. She was like recommending this book. It was like really good, like hot item book. I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
really good hot items.
You missed it earlier, Mike, but I said it was all over my TikTok screen too, like my For You page. I think I got like over 50 people who were just talking about recommending this book. So,
and that's a good reason.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I guess I want to kind of start off on this one. This book was it was one of the first books in a while that I like the Silent Patient that we did, but this one really grabbed a hold of me because it reminded me of another book. It actually reminded me, or had like a flavor of Anne Rice's The Interview with the Vampire. Just because it follows Addie and her solitude, and it follows like the darkness, and and 300 years of being alone and not really seen. And it kind of had that feeling to me. So I really like that. Like Interview with Vampires, one of my base books.
Outstanding.
Mommy's our book club.
No, I can see that. I just absolutely loved it. The only thing I didn't like about it, the only criticism I would have is that it's supposed to be this timeless love story, and it takes them these 300 years to get together. And I didn't like that they had this little thing in the 80s. I was like, well, why did you get together then and then break up? What was that about?
Oh, was it in the 80s or like the 50s when her and Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was in the 80s, but whatever. The 70s or something. I don't know, but
I think it was in the 50s because in 1986, her New Orleans home got burned to the ground because they had that fight. And that was when it was like over. So I think it was a little earlier because they were together like 30 years or something like that.
Were they? See, I I thought they were only together a little while. Maybe I just read it.
Well, I mean, I read it. I thought it said 30, and I guess it's still not that long, compared to like 300 years.
Yeah, maybe. But I was like, well, why did they do that and then break up? I wish they would have just, like gone all the way, made it the whole fantasy love story, and then finished up together. But really, that was just like a little, glitchy.
Yeah. I mean, I feel what you're talking about, Becky. And like anybody that's obviously watching this, the book is about a girl who makes a deal with, to me, is like a crossroad demon. So like any supernatural fans, and I think me and Samantha talked about this at like a dinner. I was like, he's a crossroad demon.
Yeah, he's a senior crossroad demon.
In like 1600 in France, she was a girl. She didn't want to get married at a young age. She wanted to live life, so she sold her soul to have a life. And so she's living for 300 years, and it kind of follows her throughout that, and just trying to. The other thing is that, of course, one of the drawbacks of that is that nobody can remember her. So hence the name, The Visible Life of Addie LaRue. The moment somebody steps away, they forget her. So she's got to kind of live like and her life, I don't know about you guys, but it gave me like anxiety every time somebody forgot her. And she's like in the shop and they're like, oh, I got to run. They think I'm stealing, or it just gave me major anxiety because I felt for her. I was like, oh, how's she going to do this? Like, she's in an apartment and they don't know she's there. So, I mean, like how Becky was saying about the living with Luke, I don't know. I like the story and I like the book. I was kind of like at the end, I was the campy reader, like, oh, I just want to see them together. I want her to be with the devil. No, but it was like, really, I wanted her to be happy. And like, if she was to really be with Luke at the end of it, which is the devil or like the crossroad demon, really. I feel like she would have I wouldn't have liked that story. So she kind of has a bit of a fight towards when you read the end of it, she's got other plans.
Yeah. I mean, the end kind of was like an open ending. I mean, I was like, damn, this girl had a plan for her plan.
Yeah. But I still think I still think they're cool, but on her terms.
Yeah, like on her terms. And you know what? When they finally got together, I was like, oh, I really like that. Like, I
know.
Yeah, she's like, he's the one that she actually loves.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not that Henry guy.
Nah. Although, the Henry guy's cool and it could go either way, but it's like, do you pick Rhett or Ashley? I mean.
Yeah.
He belongs with Rhett.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him. At first, I thought he was like the devil and he was making all these. And then later on, I thought of him not so much as a devil, but just as it's a fantasy. So I thought of him just as a spirit who can do things, like magic spirit. I don't know. That's not the right word, but like has the power to do things, but maybe they're not always the way you want them. So he just
it's making all the sorry.
Because he did one thing with Henry and one thing with her, and there are other people, and not necessarily in an evil demon way. Just maybe I was making him nicer.
He was kind of like a Grim Reaper too, is what I took from it. So he was like collecting on souls or deals or whatever. I mean, then it goes back to supernatural, like the crossroad demon.
Right.
So I might be the the other vote, because I really didn't like Luke. I thought he was kind of gaslighting her the whole time and really manipulative, because he was like, well, I want to be the one to break you, and oh, here's a home, but I'm gonna burn it down. Like he kept giving her stuff and taking it away, so she had no choice but to go back. I mean, she didn't. She was stronger, but that was my interpretation of him. I wasn't a big fan of him.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that's toxic. Like, at least Henry was like, hey, I'm gonna die soon, and I kind of want to just be happy, and you make me happy. So
right, and he really loved her.
Yeah,
but and sacrificed so he could live.
And he didn't ask her to do that either. He was very selfless. He was just like, I just want to be happy, and I'm only telling you because I don't have much time, And she was gone for 6 days, and he didn't even really like say anything either. He wasn't like, what were you doing with that creep? Like, oh, that's another thing Luke did. He took 6 days away from her instead of 1.
Yeah, right.
So she gave him an inch, and he took miles. So I didn't like him. That was my opinion, though.
No, I understand. Yeah. I feel you on that one. It's like the lovey-dovey, like, oh, they're just like this 300 years of them falling for each other, but at the same time, like, no, he's literally a demon.
Yeah, and it took 300 years to actually like him. Like
I like that. It was good.
Henry took 1 day.
I know.
Right.
And I really liked how the book incorporated her leaving her presence, because she couldn't, obviously, because people forget her. Like they turned away, but she had influences on like artists,
art and music.
And music. So she literally had a timestamp throughout 300 years in different art, like really famous art. And I like how the author, the V. Swabs, I know, but anyways, where she really focused on like arts, even for like the Crossroad Demons, he was in for the artists and stuff like that. Like Beethoven's soul. Like it was like, wait, you're telling me that?
Yeah, or Joan of Arc. That was really cool to hear. And so then she started thinking, like, how many things in my life have you like kind of influenced throughout the world? Like, what do I like because you did that like deal? Yeah. And then I liked how every I call it like every act started with like an art piece in some form. So it was, like, some poem or an art installation or like the 7 dots gray painting. And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was
really neat. I really, really, even though it's frustrating and it made you anxious, I really thought that our author did an outstanding job of keeping that thread through the whole thing, where people forgot who she was right away, or art that she made, she could write something down and it would disappear, or all that stuff.
Yeah. And it was like a good anxious for me because it was real, it was good anxiety.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I felt like I was there, like I was like watching a movie. I was like, oh my God, they're gonna forget she's in the shop and she's stealing clothes. I'm like, oh my God, how's she gonna do this? Or even like going into that rich dude's penthouse, like, oh, what if he just walks in? It's just like has that edge of like anxiety. But it was good.
That little edge. He did do that.
And it turned into like
so good at keeping it consistent all the way through there. It wasn't like there wasn't a place where I went, hey, wait a minute, I thought they couldn't do this, or you know what I mean? Like, wait, I thought she couldn't do that, or it was like consistent the whole way through.
And I actually got anxiety too, because I was like, okay, Henry remembers her now, but is he gonna forget her and it's gonna like start all over? So I was like, okay, another day we're good. Another day we're good. Until
like the author did a good job because we felt Addie's anxiety because that's how she felt, and I was like, oh, I was like, okay, cool.
That is cool.
So is Luke short for Lucifer?
I think it was supposed to be.
Yeah, they didn't actually say. I actually had to Google that. So they never actually said his full name, but a lot of people implied that it was supposed to be for Lucifer. And she thought it was something else too, I think in the book she says, but then she determined that it probably was supposed to be Lucifer or something like that. I do remember like a brief part about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was the impression I got. I
got that too. But it's like when you were talking about Interview with the Vampire, when I read that book, and I've read all kinds of vampire stuff and I've seen movies my whole life, but when I read that book, It's like, oh, what do you know? This is how the vampire really is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he wrote it so well that you absolutely believed that this was the real vampire thing.
Yeah.
And this was kind of the way too. I was like, oh, you always have this perception of Lucifer or the devil being a certain way, but he's really
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. Starting speakeasies in Chicago.
Do vampires twinkle in the sunlight?
Well, that's a whole different
That
whole
be
different
Myers
genre.
vampires, dude.
I mean,
I'm not gonna diss those books because I definitely read them. So
I read them. Oh, Hazelball.
Hazelbot.
yeah.
Mom, I gotta show you something.
Oh, well, I'm on book club, but I appreciate it.
Watch the Vicky,
Oh, okay.
but white.
Awesome.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, Scooch Kid. How dare you? I would probably, I don't know. I honestly really liked it. I actually took my time reading this book. I didn't want to, because at first I was just like, oh, reading. And I was like, let's kind of like just savor it for a little bit. And I would put it down. But even though I really wanted to read it, and I would pick it up again. And it just felt very like suiting to do that. Because it's just like, all she has is all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting too. Her perspective changed. So, like in the beginning, she was like, "No one remembers me, like at all." And then I think they were in a speakeasy, her and Henry, and this guy Toby was talking about this girl he kept dreaming of. Like he wrote a song or something, and it was actually her. He was like, "I guess I'm not like so forgettable, but I do leave like an imprint somewhere because she's in the arts too." So it's kind of like I felt like as the book progressed, it's kind of like her change of perspective that. You know, it's the curse maybe isn't like so black and white as she thought, that she does leave some kind of imprint on life as she's going through it. So
she learned how to work the system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did feel bad for her though when I read that she couldn't start fires. And I was like, oh man, a time before air conditioning and heat and everything. Like that, you can keep it going, but you can't like start it. And I was like, oh man, that's a little scary.
Yeah. And just hiding out in these houses, these abandoned houses, and just her life like on the streets, it was scary. Like the writing in Paris and just like the revolution in there and just like being a woman back then, actually. That was anxiety.
Right?
She didn't walk around, you know?
Yeah.
But she made her way, and there was some instances where if she was human, she would have definitely died, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Did she have the plague too, like at one point, or didn't she get like
asleep in the cold? Well, she fell asleep in the cold, but
Right.
you know, she can't die. So technically, they probably looked at her and she's like, yeah, she's dead, and she got thrown in a pile of dead bodies. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. There was that part.
I like those kind of books, those aspects where it follows through, like where they're there for many years. That's why I keep on saying like Interview for the Vampire, because you see them through these years, and I love when that happens in a book.
I know.
How they adapt and like just grow as a person, you know.
And it's almost like an Interview with a Vampire, because someone like that whole book was him writing down that guy's story.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't do it. And it's the same thing what Henry did with Addie.
Yeah.
Life.
Exactly. It's like you could tell it has some flavors of that, which I really like. And then you can kind of tell like the author of like what she kind of likes. You could say, oh, she like really like art. And it's like, obviously, you know, Anne Rice was really good influence on her. And there were really good influences in this book, and she made it her own. I'm not saying it's like copying, of course, but
no,
she made it her own story, and it was a really good story.
And it was like I liked it a lot too, because there was like a consistent dark theme. Like there was good moments and really bad moments, but it was like overall dark. And I think that's what kind of kept me in that mood to like really like enjoy the book.
There was a dark, but I think like Addie brought that lightness to it, where she was so stubborn, and so like she could have gave in so many times, but she did it because she wanted to like just prove a point. Like she still has this light in her. And so I like to see that as like a strong female, even though some things I was like, oh, she would snap at the devil. She would literally just say these things. I'm like, why'd you say that? Oh my God. And I was like, oh, he's gonna treat you horrible. And then one time he actually did. He like made her into like a weathered old woman. He's like, hey, you know, if you really think this is easy, I'll make it a little hard for you. And she actually got scared, but I liked how headstrong she was.
Yeah. That's why I think she ends up with him, because I think she likes being immortal. I think she likes being young and beautiful and not able to die.
Yeah.
I think she wants to make the journey. She doesn't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Well, especially in 2020, you don't want to give that up.
Right?
I think so too. And in a way, you never see who she loves. She does love Luke, which is the devil, but then she does love Henry. But I honestly, there was one sentence in the book where it kind of, the tone of it was like, he loves her. When Henry said, "I love you," and she said it back, there was like a sentence, I can't remember what it said, but it was like kind of implying like, only if I believed it, or like something of like along the lines of, if only it was kind of real, because in the end she kind of still has that love for Luke. And I was like,
Yeah.
and she keeps on saying they fit together perfectly. She
Yeah.
kept on saying he fit together, and I'm like, oh, because she honestly does love him, but she's stubborn as hell. So
Right.
Yeah.
I thought she told Luke too that their love wasn't real. I thought she mentioned that to him.
she
too.
was really hurt when he was playing those mind games. I think he, like, if he really showed himself like, hey, and he kind of did to her, like, hey, you're right, I do need companionship, I've fallen for you, I want to be with you, but at the same time I'm the devil, so I have to do my tricks. Yeah. I think when he opened up, and then she kind of like, when he asked her to, what was it, surrender, and she got mad. She's like, oh my God, this has all been a game. I don't think for him it wasn't a game, but he still had to hold on to himself, like that he is like a devil or a demon. So he's
Right.
like,
And we're not really sure what he meant by surrender. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean he would have like killed her, I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe he'll like make her like immortal, just like with them together or something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, I got the feeling that if she said that, I always got the feeling she would lose that special immortality. She would just become an ordinary person again.
Yeah, and like,
That's
I
the
think
feeling I
she's
got.
scared. Yeah, scared to lose it. She wasn't scared to give her like herself to Luke, to save Henry, but in the end, it's like, to wither away. She was terrified, when he did that to her in that house. I think Estelle's house.
Yeah.
I think she still has so much to see and to like, experience.
You know what this also kind of reminds me of, now that we're talking about it? It's I forget what it's called. It's with the soul, and he traps his soul in a mirror so we can live and be young forever.
Portrait of Dorian
Oh,
Gray.
Portrait of Dorian Gray. Yeah.
So I feel like maybe she's got the same mentality a little bit as him too, because he didn't want to be like old and die or anything, and she didn't necessarily want to either. So she kind of gave up like her love with Henry to kind of like keep that immortality. I don't know. Our discussion kind of brought that up, and that's what made me think about it. So.
Well, I know in the picture of Dorian Gray, one thing is that he was like not really very nice.
No.
And he got away with all kinds of crap because it all just went into the picture.
Yeah.
And he stayed like all young and handsome and cool, but he did all these depraved things.
Oh yeah. I mean, that book is not the same, but I feel like maybe a little bit of an inspiration from it. Yeah.
She doesn't change. She's always the same young, like Addie.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, the freckles. That's right. And that's in some artwork too, right? Isn't it? She looks, and there's like this guy just is compelled to put the freckles in the artwork.
Yeah. I think Henry's friend, who's B or Bay, or
she actually wrote a thesis on her.
Yeah.
She says this woman is in history several times, and she's the only one in these paintings.
And nobody knows who she is.
Yeah. And she's like, this is the same woman, but no one knows who they are. So she wrote this whole thesis on.
That's right.
Yeah.
I really like that aspect of that in the book. I was like, oh, that's such a neat idea. Like that you see the same person, but over 300 years in different artists' various mediums, like I was like, oh, that's really cool concept.
Yeah.
And it's her, and she's just trying to make it, like something.
And it goes back to her like being not completely forgettable. Like she still leaves a trace in people's lives. Just a little.
and towards the end, in the book, Henry writes the story of her life and calls it The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is the book. that we read.
Yeah.
Which so then it's kind of like was it Inception? Which I really like too. And she kind of sees it and she's like, you're proud, you're happy for her. I don't know how I feel about the ending though, because she's pretty much a captor, but not a captor of Luke, who is the devil.
I'm gonna have to go back and read the end again.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And I don't know if her plans, from what I took from the ending of the book, it didn't seem like she actually had plans to go back to Henry. She just had plans to like get away from Luke. Yeah. So I feel like that chapter between her and Henry was kind of like done
and over with. She misses, like you can tell she like loved him in her the way, like, you know, just she has a special place for him. But you can tell that she closed that and he's going to live her life, and you know she's not going to intervene with that.
Yeah, he's just going to go live his own ordinary mortal life now. And
and I don't know, and I feel like she was still, even though she was like debating in her mind like her plans to like make Luke hate her so that he can let her finally set her free, she was still like leaning towards him and being with him. So it's just kind of like this weird relationship that they have, that they love each other, but it's just always a battle, you know?
And it goes back to her always being that young girl who ran away. Like she'll never change because this is who she was. She stopped at 23 or whatever like that.
Yeah. I mean,
I was surprised with how well she adapted from going to girl in a country village out in the middle of nowhere to big city life. Yeah, it took many years to get there, but she was able to do it and to navigate through. Yeah, she wasn't this naive little girl who wanted to ride with Daddy to the next town because she never leaves town. She's now a world traveler.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a culture shock.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what happens too, is when she finally goes to some Parisian town. I don't know where she went. Did she go to Paris, right? Like when she left her home?
She went to Paris, but I think did she go somewhere else first? I don't know. I think she went right to Paris.
Right to Paris, where it was just like a whole new world. And she stayed there for like 70 years or 50 years.
Yeah.
And then so she was finally thrown into like Italy.
Oh yeah, Florence, yeah.
Yeah, and then she started, you know, traveling the world, which was really cool. But it's just like, I don't know, the book kind of has that like, hey, live life. Because some people make deals with the devil and look what happens.
Yeah.
But enjoy yourself, of course, and make an imprint. So I really like that. It was really refreshing.
You gotta leave your mark.
Yeah,
exactly.
I like how she went back to her hometown a couple times just to kind of check in. You know, like, hey, what happened with my mom and dad? And then she planted the tree over her mom, and you know, and then Luke was like, I didn't down the tree, lightning did. You know, life can be cruel just on its own. It's not just me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really liked how she went back over the course of time, but it like deteriorated. Like the woods are taking over the house that I grew up in. I don't remember this road. And that's like the parts I love about books like this. It's like they go back and they never age. They stand still, but everything else eventually just disappears, you know?
And her it was a bird, right? The little wooden bird that she stole.
Yeah, from her dad's workshop.
Oh yeah. And she had that. Oh, she had it all the way through, or she put it with her mother. I can't remember what she did with it.
It broke. So she
got a
replica. Yeah, she got a replica at one point of it.
Yeah. But it was one of the art pieces that was mentioned in like the beginning of the chapters, where there was like a wooden bird on the marble slab, and it was like it tells the artist. And then you start to realize what the author's doing in the book. It's like, oh, she has influences on these art pieces, and you're like, oh, I get it.
Yep.
There's an old movie called Death Takes a Holiday from I think it was in the 40s, but Death decides he just needs a break, and I haven't seen it like forever and ever and ever and ever, but Death decides he needs a break and he hangs out with somebody, and he says, like, you know what, I'm on vacation. I don't feel like taking people right now. And he goes on this vacation, but in the meantime, people stop dying.
Oh.
And so you kind of find out what happens because people need to die. Not everybody who dies today needed to die today. But there are a lot of people who are very ill or wounded or something, and they need to die, but they didn't die because Death was on holiday. So it was a weird turn of events, the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fun fact, that's an episode of Supernatural too.
It is.
I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
Honestly, everything's an episode of Supernatural. So.
I mean,
that's cool. And then there's a really old a movie from the 50s called The Seventh Seal. The same kind of thing. This guy is supposed to die, and Death comes to get him, and the guy challenges Death to a game of chess and says, if I can beat you at chess, then I want to live. And Death's like, yeah, okay. So they play chess, and they have, very deep conversations about whatever. It's a Swedish, Ingmar Bergman film. So they have these very esoteric, deep conversation while they're playing the chess. Awesome. But as I recall, he checkmates him and lives. But don't quote me.
Look into that.
But it's cool. But it's, it's heavy 50s Swedish.
That's a genre? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah, Ingmar
Really
Bergman is
heavy.
yeah.
Yeah. I know, it sounds very familiar. Yeah, Keanu Reeves. It sounds like a Twilight Zone kind of episode.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
A Seventh Seal.
Seventh
Seventh
Seal, which I'm not even sure what that means. It's got some deep meaning.
Probably like the 7 layers of hell or something like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was always 7. 777.
7. Yeah.
I don't know. I should rewatch it now as like a much older grown up because I was very young.
You had me at 50s Swedish movies.
There you go.
I'm gonna Google that genre after this.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's
what is it, like the Criterion?
Yeah, right. Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably is though.
It probably is. I think the yellow subtitles are all from Yellowbird, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I really this is a fresh of breath air. Is that no?
Breath of fresh air.
You know what I'm talking about.
A fresh of breath air.
This is a good book. I really like it.
Great book.
Definitely would advise to take your time reading it. Of course, like with any book, but I really liked it. I definitely highly recommend it. It would have been cool if the author came on our little book club. But yeah. What do you guys think?
Maybe at some point we'll look at it. Maybe we'll read another one of her books and see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My opinion of the book is 2 thumbs up.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't because I'm holding my phone. So yeah, I really recommend this book. It was a good one. It's very modern too. I think it takes place. Oh, and that's the second thing. Her dates were kind of it made me eerie because it started on Hazel's birthday, and then the anniversary is my mom's birthday, so they're really important dates to me. And I was like, oh my god. I remember starting reading this. I was like, those are like really important dates to me. But
it's a sign.
She has that because it's like in 2014. So like the day Hazel was born is the day that the book starts. So I thought that was really cool.
Oh, that is. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not so like backdated. It's actually like just a couple of years ago, 6 years ago. So I like how it's there. It probably, over the time it will just be stuck in. That was really stuck in time though. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool that she does that because then it shows that he had to write it, get it like published, and then sent out kind of thing. So if you're reading it now, it technically would probably be written in 2014.
So if you like The Vampire or Interview with the Vampire, Inception, and 50 Swedish movies, you'd like this book.
And Supernatural.
Oh, and Supernatural. Yeah.
Supernatural.
Picture of Dorian Gray.
Yes.
And a tinge of Dorian Gray.
Just put these tags on when you upload it.
Right?
So when people Google it, they're like, "What does this have to do with that?"
Yeah.
It's just a
I'm going to try and get a shot.
All right.
See if I can get it.
The next book club, it will be Mike's pick. So just let me know, and I'll upload it onto the page.
Yes, I will.
Mike.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It was nice.
Okay, no pressure.
Bye, everyone.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.